Death is inevitable. It's not a matter of if, but when. We march through the endless halls of life, collecting stories to hang along our barren walls, and struggle fruitlessly day and night to prolong the distance our flames can travel. Today's sunrise marked the beginning of change for us in this twisted vision. As the temperatures reached new lows in the beginning of winter, we graciously marked off fire from our checklist for survival needs. We no longer needed to fear the repercussions of marching into the howling storm, and so we set off into the city to expand the number of cleared out buildings for us to take shelter in.
Okay, big ass place. What do we got? Rotten. Okay. It's like a pancake shop, breakfast shop. Light enough that we can take it.
In our rush to adventure, we'd forgotten our backpack and didn't turn all of our vital supplies. It'd be easier to travel unburdened, but bringing home the artifacts of the old world would be a hindrance. In the kitchen of the Waffle House, we found some useful fuel for our fire, some coffee to keep us going, and in the refrigerators we found a beautiful supply of margarine, ketchup, butter, and a carton of eggs, surprisingly still fresh. We went home, refreshed ourselves quickly, and re-geared for another outing into the infected streets of Louisville. With the undead horde wiped out of the building, we happily grabbed the last bits of useful supplies from the closet and shredded all the dead's clothing for fuel for our fire. Our target objective was about one city block over, a small pawn shop located behind the Louisville Art Museum, which, with any luck, would contain everything we were missing: tools, gas mask filters, and maybe even a generator to return power to the now blackened city buildings. Z-Hub brought us another pack of smokes as the daylight began to get eclipsed by the horizon. With the light of dusk fading away, we made our way home through the roaring storm. We took some time that night to organize our belongings and warm up by the fire, completely forgetting about our eggs and letting them burn before heading into our frozen slumber. It'd only be a few hours before we were woken up by the dreadful cold, seeping into our every fiber. Every morning was the same as the temperatures continued to plummet. Thankfully, we had our fire now to quickly warm us up. We'd spent that morning lounging around the gym, reorganizing and refueling our fire, waiting for when the deep layer of fog would clear enough to see. When dawn was upon us, we threw on our heavy fur coat and made our way back out into the frozen sea of endless trials. Apparently, we had missed this car in a search for gasoline, right along our main path of travel. Just enough to fill a single bleach bottle, but nothing more. We gleefully poured that bleached gas into our car's tank and hopped in to find out just how much we had. An eighth of a tank wouldn't get us very far, but we now had an operable vehicle in our possession, and the possibilities for the future were growing. A number of undead festered around the southernmost part of the Dorrid parking lot, lingering near 2 giant fuel tankers. Although well defended, it seemed worth the gamble to investigate closer.
Okay, we got a couple of them now. Let's just get out of view. Get over here. No. Ooh, my clothing saved me there. Whew. Spear and a survival knife.
Both tankers were empty, but we didn't leave empty-handed. A survival knife, a spear, and a stop sign were our rewards for taking out part of the Horde. Darkness descended upon the land eerily quickly, so we once again made our way home out of habit, not wanting to get stuck out in the middle of the night. We celebrated our gasoline victory by chugging down a glorious beer and rinsing with a cigarette chaser. Then we noticed the time. It wasn't the middle of the night, but the beginning of the day. Not even noon yet. We fought off the weariness of the beer with a coffee and chugged down an orange soda to correct our mistake, before heading back out into the world, realigned with the world's time.
Average. These are average. Okay, I need to take one of these home with me. That's better than the sleep I'm currently getting. Not gonna lie, that's a little terrifying because I don't know where he fell from. But he's taken care of.
In an ambulance beside the Waffle House, we found a trunk full of supplies. Antidepressants, disinfectant, a wrench, empty gas can, and a second duffel bag to carry them all in. And not even 20 feet away from this treasure trove, we discovered another piece of treasure.
Safe and gas.
Enough gasoline in the tank of this little red car to fill our newly acquired gas can. All rotten. In the back of the store laid a warehouse full of non-perishable foods, TV dinners, canned goods, and even a couple packages of candy to boost our morale. Just upstairs in the building's office was a partially filled water jug, which we would happily bring home. Anything to keep us from wasting time in fuel boiling water.
Our new bed. This one's gonna work? Nope, these are bad. I need the fancy chairs from across the way to get the average sleep. There we go. Alright. Go, 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 go. Guess who's back? Back again. We got food galore. Gas can with some gas in it. Let's go grab the rest of our random food over here. Our new beautiful bed.
We relaxed in the comfort of our well-shaped chair, taking in the moment of mediocrity. Such a small improvement meant so much for us going forward. If only we could find an actual bed, or even a tent. As night descended and the temperatures plummeted, we defended ourselves against cold's embrace with fire. Tonight we would cook and eat our first meal in forever. We sat and watched it carefully this time, making absolutely sure it wasn't going to burn, and then greedily engorged ourselves on TV dinners cooked over an open fire. There is little in the world as amazing as a great night's sleep after a delicious home-cooked meal. We woke up completely refreshed, with barely a sniffle from the cold. Today would be the day we actually reclaimed the car, brought it home. We headed out with our gas can into the storm, and dumped that liquid gold straight into the thirsty tank of our new car. We had managed to gather a half a tank of gas, but would still need to ration our supply until we could find a more sustainable way of getting more fuel. We also weren't really in a hurry to drive any sort of long distance with the absolutely poor visibility. With the car delivered to our front door, we set our targets back to the pawn shop and clearing a path forward deeper into the city. The first new storefront we found was another toy store, which we greedily snagged up all the batteries on the shelves. Altogether, we found 22 batteries to keep our path lit. The next was a fancy clothing store, the kind with mannequins and glass windows everywhere. On one of the displays, we found something amazing to shelter us from the storm. A bear headdress, which we would try on later. We grabbed a few random pieces of high insulation clothing from the racks in case our clothing started to fall apart, before searching the rest of the store for the source of the guttural growls. The back room was absolutely loaded, but the most amazing thing among the prizes was a set of samurai armor, a welding mask, and to top it off, a huge backpack to carry all of our supplies in. The storm was beginning to pick up as the daylight dwindled away. We'd head home before things got worse. With sprinters being involved, we always wanted to side with caution. Our target hasn't changed, so once we've warmed up, dried off, we'll recline in average comfort and sleep the night away. We woke up frozen to the bone, long before the sun would rise again. The temperatures inside had declined to the negatives now. We'd been in Louisville a little over a month, and the frostborn mornings weren't getting any better. Still exhausted, we chugged down some bourbon to pass out, and wait for the sun to grace the sky and hope for better weather.
I'm hoping this will work, but I have no idea if it actually will or not. I'm gonna try and use this stop sign to drop down a tree or two. Meantime, we're just gonna run a little bit, get our body temperature up. Okay, that didn't seem to work.
We had failed to chop down the tree for firewood, sadly, but we didn't want to waste the gift of beautiful weather we had been granted. We raced out across the streets towards the uncleared buildings, ready for whatever challenges laid ahead.
What? Ooh! What?
The clothing store had a heart attack waiting, and our only reward was a few spare winter jackets and another 9mm magazine.
Ooh, that's a few. There don't appear to be any sprinters, so. That's another toy store.
We took note of the toy store, but didn't waste any time looting it. We could always come back if we needed more batteries. Way more important than batteries, however, was a small library, cram-packed full of knowledge and fuel for our fire. We didn't find a generator book, but we didn't leave empty-handed. Each book was 15 minutes of fuel. There was easily a few days' worth of fuel in that store. We celebrated, finally trying on our new apparel. The samurai helmet was a bit much, but we happily adorned the shin guards and bracers for their protection and insulation. Our favorite piece of gear was the incredibly insulated bear headdress, which not only made us look great, but would also keep our upper body extra warm. A new dawn washed across the horizon, and with it we arised. We wanted for nothing more than to continue our progress into the city, and so we headed out headstrong, adorned in our new armor into the brackish storm.
Ooh, negative 51 degrees. That blizzard is a-blowing. that's a sprinter. No, 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 no. Don't tell me we're gonna die here, come on. Scratched and lacerated. My right hand, too. No wonder everything got so freaking hard after that. We're cold, or wet, or making mistakes. I'm just gonna call it a day, go home, and hopefully not be infected. This isn't really doing its job because it has so many holes in it. I don't have a needle yet. Okay. You dry. Cool. We can put that out now. I used a few hours. 4 hours?
With our hand damaged, we'd barely be able to fight off anything that tried to kill us, so we reclused ourselves inside our gymnasium fort until our wound would finally heal. We dedicate this time at home to improving ourselves in various skills.
Oh my god, it's so cold. Putting it out removes a whole hour. You're healed yet? Please be healed. Oh, you're infected. Disinfect the wound. Bandage it with a sterilized rag. We should be okay now.
We awoke with a vigor that morning, contemplating the tenacious crawl of progress as the heat of our flames warmed the steel of our blade. The wound that had crippled us had finally faded away, and so too did the shackles that kept us locked inside. We could finally return to the frontier to broaden our horizons. First, we needed to resupply on books, as our campfire's life was growing shorter by the day. We utilized the car for the first time to maximize our looting potential, and drove her right up to the entrance of the bookstore. We jam-packed every nook and cranny available full of glorious knowledge. Altogether, when compiled, gave us a staggering 43 hours of fuel.
Munch on some dry black beans real quick. Since I do have a few hours of this now, 43 to be exact, I can at least utilize some of it. Maybe get a full night's sleep, hope for a good, easy day in the storm.
That night, the sound of specters visited us at our peak weariness. Were we just hearing things, or had the ghouls really followed us back to our home? We took a peek downstairs to try and find where the sound had originated from, but didn't investigate any further. We were far too tired to take any risks in the pitch black of night, and so we went to sleep paranoid. The stealthy creeper had managed to make it all the way upstairs during the night, but failed to set up a proper ambush, and instead left himself in timeout in the corner. He had broken through on the far end of the gym, leaving only glass fragments on the ground as evidence. We looked around to see if he had any companions, but as far as we could tell, he was a lone assassin. Progress had waited long enough. The frontier stood restless as we bided our time at home. It was time again to press into the unknown.
Any one of those could be a sprinter. We gotta back up. Oh, okay, we're okay. None of them are sprinters, so. Oh, there's a horde there. That one's a sprinter. Yeah, too many there now. Oh, no! Fucking smart ass zombies. Okay, all yours, guys. Enjoy. We'll reclaim it next time.
We fought all day on that frontier, but were ultimately pushed back. Instead of claiming land, the undead claimed land from us. But tomorrow was a new day, and with it carried all of our hopes for progress. Our determination was now a boundless flame, but that would have to wait until next time. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, make sure to hit the subscribe button. A like, favorite, or share is also greatly appreciated. If you have a suggestion for a future challenge, please let me know about it down below or by joining the Discord. Thanks and have a wonderful one.